Welcome, everyone, to the Aging and Spirituality podcast. We are so happy you're here. I am Cathy Taylor and your co host.
It's Chris Jensen.
And we're always talking about how to have a fulfilled life. And today, the title of the subject is What Triggers You Controls You. So,
Mm,
strap in. We're going to talk about those things
that
that
sounds
irritate the pants
fun.
off of you.
Yeah, yeah.
But the good news is we're going to tell you how to deal with them so that they don't become triggers anymore. They actually become great opportunities. So when you think about that sentence, that is kind of annoying, right? You say
Yeah.
Whatever triggers you controls you."
Mm.
That's annoying right up front.
Oh,
Like what?
what is this? What is
But
this?
what is this? But the thing is, it's because we think about it as like a moral judgment, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that you're spiritually immature because you're getting triggered. We all get triggered. Let's get that up front.
Everybody gets
We
triggered.
all
That's
get
right.
triggered.
Yeah,
And it's really just information, right?
yeah.
Everybody gets triggered. And
Mm.
here's the key. The trigger is simply revealing something that is inside of you that is still reactive.
Yeah.
So hear that one again because I didn't use the word responsive. I used the word reactive.
Yes. Big difference.
Triggers
Big difference.
trigger reactions. And that's something that needs to be worked on for sure. And oftentimes it can be an old memory. It can be an identity that you've carried around about yourself, a mask that you've been carrying your whole life about who I am. Could be wounds that need to be healed. These are all triggers that we learn to deal with as we grow into adulthood. We get into adulting. Hopefully, by the time we get into adulting, we're over all of the triggers or a lot of them. So the thing about triggers is that the minute you feel one, you notice one come up when you're annoyed and irritated by it, you realize that you're vulnerable to getting shanghaied from the present moment, from being happy, from being peaceful. And that's what a trigger is. It takes you into annoying places. So that's why we're talking about it. We're going to make it more peaceful, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
Like in the first half of your life, you're really not aware of your triggers. You know, you're so busy living your life and surviving and handling crisis and
Yeah.
all of the external demands that come into our lives, you know, from
Yes.
like 20s through to 40s and 50s, right? They override all that internal noise. But you get to midlife and beyond, and something shifts, right? The life circumstances change a lot. Your kids go, you're maybe in a different location, you're working, you're not working, all kinds of external structures fall away. And so you have a lot of new things happening, you know, and you sometimes you have so much quiet time in that space where changes seem to happen, then things that have been hanging out inside begin to surface. You begin to notice them. You begin to get triggered by them. And that's for a reason. They're there to be cleared so you can have peace, so you can experience and happiness and all of those wonderful things you talk about, or that we talk about a lot in yoga, because those are the higher levels of awareness you can experience when you actually do get your body, mind, and spirit into harmony. So that those are states that we actually strive to have. So, you know, again, the midlife where you notice you're getting irritated more often, or maybe you feel sensitive more often, or you're
Mhm.
just kind of exhausted by all the freaking conflict, right? We
Yeah.
get to an age where I'm over all this crap. I'm over
Mhm.
being disappointed and all, all of that silly nonsense, right? But just know as you're going through that process that these moments, these triggers are really revelations of things that you need to deal with, that you need to look at. Um, so understand first that a trigger is nothing, it's not an event in itself, right? A trigger is not an event, something that happened to you. It's really an emotional activation that happens inside of you when something inside of you that is unresolved gets touched.
Yeah.
Doink, triggered.
Yeah.
Triggered, right? it's an unresolved place inside of you, it's really where the nervous system reacts before the mind can interpret what's
Yeah.
really happening.
That's exactly it. You don't have that moment of stepping back.
Right.
It's like this whole being just responds. Yeah.
That's right. So what Chris said is right. You're instead of responding, you're reacting.
Yeah.
That's a key distinction, right? When you feel a reaction come and you didn't have the time to respond, it's a trigger.
You think about
There's to look at, right?
it.
There's something there to look at. Maybe for a lot of people, it's a somatic experience. The heart rate races, or they feel anxiety, or something like that goes on, right? And thoughts rush through your head like,
Yeah.
those people don't respect me, or I feel invisible, or this thing always happens to me. It's always the same thing that always happens to me. Those are the body being defensive. That's like an immediate knee-jerk reaction that tells you you're also in kind of a fight or flight state of being that you want to take a look at and definitely release. So just be clear about the distinction between reacting and responding, because it's really important, especially if you want to be on the spiritual path, in the latter part of your life, you're focusing on those more sacred goals, then it's going to be really important for you to know the difference between reacting and responding. Being aware of when those triggers come up, because they're pointing the way for you. They're saying, where you are, if it's hurting, you're going to have to deal with it, and where you want to go is past it, just past it. So you're encouraged to like go and try to find the answer, because if you don't, then you're giving your power away. You're giving your ability to understand what's going on inside of yourself. That inner authority and understanding who you are authentically isn't available to you if you're not willing to face it and take a look at it.
And
So
when you just react, you're giving your power completely to the person that stressed you.
yes, or
You
the situation or the memory or
situation,
whatever.
whatever it is, you're giving it completely away.
You are totally have lost your power. That is for sure. So that inner authority is the ability to pause before you have the reaction
Yes.
and do something that you might regret later.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because we have all been there.
Yeah.
Um, so I was going to tell a funny story about reading stuff on the internet, but I'll save it for later. People's drama stories really are so entertaining sometimes. So let's say, say something happens to you that makes your body go into fight or flight, and you stop and you ask yourself, okay, take a breath. Instead of reacting, you take a breath and you go, okay, how can I respond to this? And breathing, Chris and I have actually been talking about this, is putting your awareness on your breath is actually one of the healthiest things you can do. Taking your mind away from the reaction, your body away from the fight or flight adrenaline that it's soaking itself in, and just putting your attention on your breath, which is the life source. Can't live long without your breath. Put your attention on the life source, and then just ask yourself, why did that hit me the way it did? Somebody said something to you. Situation happened, and you're standing in line at the grocery store and you're crying. What the just happened? you know? So you take a look at it objectively, right? And
Yeah.
instead of projecting outwards, the world is coming at me, and and I'm a victim of this, and stuff is always happening to me, turn inward and find out what is being triggered. This is where your trigger is your friend. It's telling you something about yourself that you really need to know. You need to know what it just touched. What did the trigger just touch? Was it an earlier experience that you had that you need to look at? Is it a part of your identity, maybe, that, who you think you are, that's feeling threatened at any given moment? So oftentimes the present moment is really not the full story. It's layered over something that is much older and that you've been carrying around for a long time. So you have to give yourself the space and the time and the silence to be able to figure out what that is, to get some clarity about what that is. But make no mistake, your body remembers, even when the mind has moved on. Your
Mhm.
body will let you know exactly what is going on. So don't try to control it. Listen to it, you
Yeah.
know? the key with triggers is that they're never going to stop happening. Crap's always going to get thrown at the
Always
wall.
going to be there. It's how we
It's,
respond to it.
it's how we respond to it. And it's really when you have that trigger happen to you, it's to be able to shorten that recovery time,
Yeah.
right? When you can immediately recognize, oh God, something just got triggered. You can shorten the recovery time and respond instead of have to react and go through all the gyrations of what that's about. And that's really what emotional mastery looks like, right?
Hmm. Right.
Less like it's less like being perfect and more like being really freaking resilient,
That's
right?
right. It's right. It's about, seeing it clearly and then doing something about
And being able to respond upon it. So instead of maybe you're feeling like you're trying to protect your identity in some way. You feel like you're being ignored, or somebody criticizes you, and that makes you feel incompetent,
it.
or you feel rejected or
Yeah.
unsettled.
Yeah.
These are all things that triggers that are still going to get thrown at you. But at some point, what we're saying to you is that if you learn how to respond in a way that is healthy and harmonious, and knowing that it's not really who you are, if it triggers something, you can deal with it and let it go, and then you're back on to being on the path of being happy and feeling fulfilled. So your recovery time is less, and you can get back into being spiritually centered in a much quicker way, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
And aging,
that's the key to give yourself the space to get spiritually centered.
100%, to
You know,
give your
if,
space
if
that
you're
clarity.
aware that something is a trigger, if you feel it in your body, all of a sudden you're ready. If you can just stop yourself then and
Yep.
step aside, walk away,
Right. Get some space.
get some
Get
space.
some breath.
Yeah, take a deep
Yeah.
breath. Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
We're teaching my 3-year-old grandson to do a yoga breath when he gets,
Yeah. Are you really? Oh, that's so great.
yeah, he does. Like, when he starts getting, like tantrumy or, we'll tell him, all right, just take a yoga breath. That's what he does. He does it in the, and he'll do it. He'll do 3 or 4 of those and it just takes him out of that mode.
It's so great. Every kid should be taught that for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
What's cute about him is he wants to teach you how to do
I know.
it.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day because I was saying how, as a Raja yogi, my default is always to go to my mind. But I realized when I was doing Tai Chi that as long as I keep my attention and my awareness on my breath as it's coming into my body, that process is fully thwarted. I get a sense of peace and stillness while I'm moving and through my life that I wasn't able to do before. So it's really levels of being able to handle what's coming at you in a way that you can still maintain your structures of peace, still maintain your breath and that flow, like aging really invites you to soften all the things that used to be your battlegrounds, the things
Yeah,
that
yeah.
worked for you when you were when
Great
you were
way to say
younger.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they kept you safe. I mean, when you felt vulnerable or whatever, there you
Right.
were able to keep yourself safe. But
Yeah.
as we get older, it's like it's tiring. It's exhausting. You don't want to have your battle shield up all the time, like and then when you really think about it, from what we said about triggers so far, they're indicators. They show you where your peace is
Mhm.
still dependent on external validation or behavior or approval, right? Think about that. If you're focused on your inner authority, you won't have those experiences. You won't have those triggers. But if you're focused on your validation, and approval coming from outside of you, then you're opening yourself up to all kinds of triggers,
Mm.
right? So, I mean, and those triggers can show up anywhere in life, can be in, long marriages, the same arguments, the same tone, the same misunderstandings, and in relationships with your adult children, right?
Mhm.
Things that have never been solved from when the time that they were children. You feel destabilized by it, like the control shifts when your kids are adults. and the authority kind of evolves, and there's all kinds of collisions that can happen, and they always happen at the holidays.
Yeah, yeah.
It's true. And they happen in friendships, right? Long-term friendships. People are lose a long friendship and they can't understand it. It's a 20-year-old friendship. Something happens, but there's a trigger there that was never resolved,
Yeah.
never taken care of, And the same thing is true in health challenges.
Mhm.
And I was actually, when I was writing this, thinking about it's true also in cultural shifts
Yeah.
when things are changing on a global level. The
Mhm.
triggers are different, but it's the same conversation. Every trigger is an opportunity to reclaim that internal steadiness.
Yeah.
So remember that when you're fighting with your family and your friends and you're having a political debate about something, right?
Opportunity to learn,
Yes,
to grow.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, and what you can do is you become more grounded, right? Become embodied in spirit, because when you're grounded, you feel like um, you can feel the wave of energy, but you don't get swept up by it, right? The controversy. When you're grounded, you can think, I need a moment before escalating an argument.
Mhm.
You're going to fight with somebody over politics. Or when you're grounded, or what I like to call embodied, your nervous system really becomes a place where you can inhabit consciously rather than react unconsciously. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
So
That's the difference. It's being more conscious. It's being making a conscious choice rather
making a
than letting the past rule.
exactly. So when nothing outside of you can consistently hijack you, what's happening inside of you, that's what we call freedom.
Yes,
And
it
I
is.
promise you,
Yes.
I promise you that there is not a person on the planet that doesn't want to understand how to do that.
Yeah.
On some level. Like people, if you ask them, they'll say, "Oh, freedom sounds good." And I can remember back in my 30s, people saying, "What would you like?" And always it was about freedom for me. I could say the word, didn't have
Me
a
too.
friggin' clue what that meant.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
Didn't,
Always.
didn't
Always.
know.
Yeah. In fact, I
So
was
that
thinking when I first started yoga, I thought, if there's one word to describe what yoga gives you, it's freedom.
freedom.
Yeah. Freedom
Freedom.
from your
And then
old
you find,
thoughts, freedom from being stuck.
yeah, freedom from being anything but we consciously choose and want to be in
Yeah,
our lives,
absolutely.
fulfilled
Absolutely.
and happy
Yeah.
and peaceful, nothing,
Yeah.
nothing can hijack you from it.
Yeah.
That's the whole gift right there, right?
Hmm.
If I could give somebody like freedom or $1 million, I'd give them freedom in a heartbeat,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
because that is a, I hate to call it a tool, but it's a gift that you can carry with you that will give you so much more in life,
Yeah.
so much more happiness
Yes.
and the things that really matter,
Mhm.
that other stuff you can't take with you. This stuff will stay with your personality for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So there you go. So, um, let's see. Someone I'm just kind of summarizing now. I mean, I think we've said a lot about this right now. I'm hoping that our listeners have understood what we're saying here. And I really just want to kind of sum it up by saying that women that are able to hear, experience these triggers, but can train themselves to pause and take that breath, they're really responding by living from consciousness. They're choosing consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And it's not about suppressing your emotions. Be clear about that. It's
No, that's
really,
very important. There's a big
yes,
difference because that'll just make your trigger bigger next time.
that's for sure.
Mm.
Try to suppress your emotions. That's not going to happen. That's
It'll
like
come
pouring
back at you.
gas on
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. One of the key things you can do though is listen to your body.
Yeah.
I know you hear that a lot these days, but that's a very deep thing to say and an even deeper thing to understand and know how to apply into your life.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep it tucked in your spiritual pocket, and when you need to bring it out and find out what it actually means for you.
Mm.
What does listening to your body actually mean for you, right?
Yeah.
So Okay, so I made a note about what quiet mastery really means to me, and it's really in my second half. Well, it's not second half. It's probably third. I will call it the third part of my life more than anything is that um, you're not carrying the same reactive pattern into the next decade. I wish that for everybody. Um, you can recognize these surges and respond appropriately,
Hmm.
and not get used to having drama in your life,
Yeah.
inviting peace in more and more and more, so it gets sturdy in your life. It gets regular and steady in your life. That's quiet mastery. That's having a life that you can be happy to jump out of bed and get into, right? So just remember, whatever triggers you shows you where you still have work to do. Embrace it. Embrace it.
Yeah. Be
That's
thankful
what
for it,
we're, yes, be great. If
because
you
you're
can do
gonna,
that, be grateful for it, you're off to a great start.
yeah, because it's going to give you the opportunity to go past it.
Absolutely. Let it go, go past it, heal, whatever words you want to use.
Yeah.
These are the things that make you fall off the path, and we're telling you how to get back on and stay on.
Yeah.
It may feel hard because you haven't done it before.
Yeah.
But
But
once you get
it's,
the gist of it, it's like riding a bike.
that's
You can
right. That's right.
apply the principles over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And so just know that this is what aging with conscious awareness looks like.
Mm.
Um, with experience, you're going to become more grounded. You're going to become more embodied with your consciousness. You're going to know how to apply the principles when they really matter, when you get triggered, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing outside of you can consistently hijack what's happening inside of you, right? You
Yeah.
have to live from awareness. You have to make those choices for yourself. So practice it gently, practice it consistently, because freedom is the biggest gift you can give yourself in your life. We want that for you. That's the best self-care
That,
ever.
that is the
Yeah.
greatest gift. If you can do this, even sometimes, it's a great gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. So if this resonates with you, go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and share. Tell people about our podcast. We want more people to have these gifts so they can use them and have really fulfilled lives.
Yes.
See you next week.
We'll see
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.